Everybody, welcome to First Year Foundations. Let's get talking about self-reflection. So, it may seem obvious to you, but I promise you, you're not doing enough of it. Nobody is, and that's why I want to talk about it today. I think it's especially important for undergraduates to establish a technique that allows them to self-reflect all of the time so that they go into the world, they do great things, and they're getting better every day. You are getting better every day. The alternative is to not self-reflect and to kind of live as if you are in a stupor where you don't understand why it is people are responding the way they do to the things that you do, why you're not getting any better. You know, that's not the way I want you to be. And that's not what college and university set you up to do, right? This week is a little bit different for activities because I want you to do a daily activity as opposed to one at the end of the week or whatever. But it's also not too hard, and I think you'll benefit a lot from this. I've tried this myself, and I'm actually going to do it this week alongside you so that I'll be able to talk about my experience perhaps, and you can talk about yours. But basically, from Monday to Friday, every day, I want you to do a little journal, and you can do it on the website, or if you want, you can write it on your own, but eventually you have to put it on the website so that I can see that you've done it, and then we'll do a few activities in the following weeks. So it's important that you do this. You can't skip this. That said, it's not very hard. If you find time, probably in the evening is best, but really up to you. It has to be on the same day. You have to do this on the same day or it doesn't really work. But some people call this a 5-minute journal. Some people call this a bullet journal, and they vary. But basically, I've asked a few questions, such as, they're not really crazy. What are 3 things that made you happy today? Now, this may seem like a kind of dumb, fluffy question, but positive psychology has shown us that we tend to dwell on the negative unless we focus on the positive. Now, some of us are in a disequilibrium where we focus far too much on the negative. I know I'm on that side. Some of us focus way too much on the positive, and we're just blind to a lot of the negatives that we should be more aware of. And so this activity is meant to allow us to self-reflect. Obviously, that's what the week is about. And so anyway, questions, if they seem dumb to you, if they seem fluffy, sorry, but I promise you they are worth it, and they come from research. They're not just me making these things up. They're based upon decades now of positive psychology and of a number of studies that have come out that I'd be happy to talk about later, perhaps. Another question that you want to think about is, what good have you done? And that good, the way I've phrased it in the website question, is that good can be for you. So maybe you took 5 minutes, you did a mindfulness exercise, right? That's good for you. Maybe you did something good for somebody else, right? Maybe you gave your time or your money or something to charity, to a good cause, or maybe you simply held the door open for somebody who needed it. It can be as small or as big as you want. But when I first tried this, I remember thinking, I'm not very happy with, what I'm saying because they're so small, right? What did you like today? Petting my dog. Like, what did you do today? I gave $5 to this person who wanted whatever, help with something. And so anyway, it doesn't have to be big. The point is, what you want to do is look back over the week, and if you continue to do this, maybe you'll find it helpful and you'll do this for the rest of your life. I know a lot of people who do, and maybe you never want to do this again, and fine, you just did a week of it. But the idea is, the more that you write this stuff down, the more you'll be able to see patterns, and the more you'll be able to self-reflect. And then later in following weeks, we'll talk about habit formation and some other things. But you've already practiced and you've already thought about time management, so maybe you can use one of those techniques to set aside time every day this week to just go on the website and say, what made you happy? What good have you done? What were some challenges and how did you deal with them? So maybe at the end of the week, you'll see, I keep finding it a challenge to do this. Maybe it's just to get up on time, right? And then you realize, well, I'm going to bed too late. Maybe I need to do that. And it's something that, seems kind of obvious, but you don't really self-reflect on it until you look back over a week and you say, every day I'm tired. Every day I'm playing a video game until 2 a.m. I'm going to try to do a video game until 1:30 a.m. or until 1 a.m. or something like that, right? We all have our own unique situations, but this will help us self-reflect on them. And then finally, the other question I want you to answer is, what could you have done better, or what would have made today better. And so it's important that you reflect on that on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that you don't try Friday to fill in all 5 days. That said, though, if you fill it in on your own, maybe you already do your own bullet journal, your own 5-minute journal, you can transcribe that on Friday. I'm going to check these things on the weekend, so I'm going to check them, make sure you've done them. I'm also not too concerned with your private information, meaning if you have a fight with your boyfriend or girlfriend, you don't need to tell me that, although maybe you can say in your journal, because I want to just make sure you're doing it, maybe you can say, like, had a disagreement with so-and-so. You don't even have to use their real name. I really don't care about what's going on. You don't have to share anything personal that you don't want to. I won't share this information with anyone else, but I will see it. So again, I want you to reflect on the things that you're doing, on the things that work well for you and the things that might not be working well for you. A week's worth is good. It's not amazing. I would encourage you to do this, and you're welcome to use the website if you want, for months on end. I don't really check it after the week, but it'll still work. And maybe in a week or a month after the deadline, so maybe you do this for 2 weeks, or maybe you do this for a month. If you ever want to, I can check if you let me know, and I can email you a list of what you've done, because that can be much more interesting to look back even after a year and say, you know what, I never realized it, but every month I'm saying these things, and I'm going to do a certain activity, or I'm going to take a step to remedy this or ameliorate the situation in whatever way you can. Anyway, it's not a big deal in that sense because it's a very simple exercise, but so many people don't do it, and it is crucial to see patterns in your own behavior and to see what you're doing and to take it seriously. I mean, if you don't take it seriously, you can lie and make it all up. I really don't care, and I wouldn't know the difference, but you're cheating yourself. You're not going to improve yourself, and I think it's a worthy cause. You have to live with yourself for the rest of your life. Make your experience as best as possible by reflecting on it. Always reflecting, because even if you are an amazing person, you can get a little bit more amazing perhaps, and self-reflection is how we do that. A final bonus question that I'll suggest you answer, but this is not mandatory at all. I want you to just think about this situation. Here we're getting a little philosophical. So imagine that you are thinking about cupcakes, let's say. So first of all, I made you think about cupcakes, so it's a very small form of mind control. But anyway, now you're thinking about cupcakes, okay? So if I were to ask you, are you thinking about cupcakes? And let's assume that you are, you would say yes. But what part of you would know that you're thinking about cupcakes if you're the one thinking about cupcakes? In other words, you are thinking about cupcakes, right? But then you also know that you're thinking about cupcakes. So what's doing that? Who's doing that? Think about it. There's not necessarily a right answer, although we could get philosophical on what different schools of thought think about that and what psychologists think about that. But I find it interesting because a lot of people are conscious. Everyone virtually is conscious, right? Animals are conscious. Some people are self-conscious, and to a fault. Maybe they're very critical, maybe they're not, but not as many people are actively self-conscious. And then you'll see a very big difference between those who actually do take time, maybe not through a journal like this, but they take time to reflect. They are constantly making little improvements. And then there are people that keep doing the same dumb things. You know these. Maybe some of these people are your friends or your family members or whatever, but they keep falling into the same traps. Part of that, especially when they're traps that they themselves could control through behavior and things like that, it's because they're not self-reflecting, right? Huge, important skill that you need to master and that you need to improve every day. And that's the ironic thing too, right? You can actually self-reflect on your self-reflection to see if you're doing it better or if you could be doing it better. So there's no end to this. But it is an interesting thing to think about. If you're thinking and you know that you're thinking, what knows that you know that you're thinking? Anyway, if that's too much and you didn't sign up for a philosophy class, that's fine. You don't need to answer that. I just like to have fun with that sometimes. So every day this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, fill it in. You have to change the day on the website. It makes sense when you look at it, and see what patterns you notice. And if you want, if it's helpful, I hope it is, continue to do this for another week for the rest of your life, whatever you think is best for you. But definitely continue to self-reflect. I'll see you next week.